Hello, welcome. I made it. I was making a slideshow, and I don't want that. I don't want the slideshow, so... Yeah, I actually thought I might prepare a slideshow because everyone in the Peach team was making a slideshow of their stuff, and yesterday William had this great presentation with all the flaming effects and stuff, so... I don't have flaming effects in the slideshow, but hopefully in the other thing. Well, okay. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the Blender Foundation tutorial DVD. We called it the Open Workshop DVD that I'm currently producing at the Blender Institute here in Amsterdam. A little bit of history, maybe. Hello, my name is Andy. I'm not an alcoholic, but I've been working with Blender for the past 7 years, and I've, well, 6 years really. And I've done some animations with it, and I use it for illustrations and still images. And I also took part in the Elephant Stream project. And a couple of months back, Ton asked me if it was possible to make a tutorial DVD for Blender, because really what Blender is missing is a lot of educational material. Luckily, we have a few books now that are really good, and I think the tutorial DVDs will contribute to that. So, in the last couple of months, I was working at the Blender Institute together with Bassam. He's going to make his tutorial DVD about animation, rigging, and all that kind of stuff. And so, okay, what am I supposed to do then? Well, I figured it would be good to put on a DVD everything that I've learned in the past 7 years about Blender, and that's really how to make something from concept, develop the concept, and bring that into Blender. And how do you go about all these things? I mean, it's kind of ridiculous if you think about it, because there are so many things that you have to do, and so hopefully what this DVD is going to show is the entire process of a shot from the concept to the end. And I'm doing that by recording actually every single step that I make in Blender. And so hopefully that will be interesting to people. Today I'm going to talk about a few things, a few topics that I'm having on the DVD. I'll also show you a quick teaser that I did in the last week. It's probably, it's sort of a work in progress, what I have so far. And I'm almost done. I still have to think about how to translate all that stuff into educational material so it will actually be useful for people. But yeah, well, I guess I'll just show you the teaser so you know a bit what this DVD is about. So the DVD is going to be called Creature Factory, in lack of a better title, but really it's about, yeah, this DVD is about what I like to do in Blender. Oh, the sound is on. I think it's already working. Light. No sound? So you saw 1 month passing, but actually it's about, if you take everything together, it's about 40 hours of recording material that I have right now. So if you play everything 40 hours, you'll have the full thing. You'll be a bit tired by the end, but oh well. So, okay. Let's go with this. So this, whoa. I already talked about that. Mac is trying to be smart now. So this DVD is about modeling, unwrapping, texturing, rigging, animation, texturing, rigging, animation, lighting, rendering, compositing. But really, I can't talk about all these things, so I really have to think about what are the focus points and what are the areas that I'm good in, because I'm not really good at rigging, and Nathan will probably freak out when he'll look at all my rigs. So yeah, this is really an artist approach to how to make stuff in a short amount of time. And I probably passed all these points. I'm probably going to talk about edge loops and how to unwrap a mesh so it doesn't look like a potato in the end. Or yeah, well. But really, what this is about how to make stuff in Blender, because Blender is a movie-making tool. It gives you, the artist, the free tool to make whatever you have in your mind. And I think this is really what makes this DVD unique, is that that I'm applying everything that I've learned about movie making into. That's for later. If you have questions right now, if you're like, oh, then you can ask them at any point, really. I would like to keep this really open, so if you think, oh my god, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about, then you just please jump up and tell me what to do instead. So, well, as I said, this is about how to make stuff in Blender, blah, 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 blah. And since Blender is free, it gives everyone the ability to make movies. So I think that's what the DVD is about, how to make stuff. That's what you wanted, Tom, right? You wanted something, and then I said, oh, let's make something epic. And what? Epic? What? How I do? Oh yeah, I thought I'd just show us some of the files that I've worked on. Actually, the process of those, I mean, the reason why it took me a month to do that is it's really complicated. I also had to do things like laying out carpets, painting the walls in the Blender Institute. So that was a bit distracting, like ripping down walls with a sledgehammer. And but really what takes a long time is to go through all these files and make sure you make something interesting. I wasn't recording like a commentary to that. I'm going to do that later because really I can't say something useful while I'm doing things. And so I'm probably going to do a tutorial, I'm going to assemble the whole time lapse in the editing process. And then I'm going to do a commentary to that, and in addition to that, I'm going to record a few tutorials. Well, a few, it's really about 20 or something, about selected areas that I think are interesting. So I can probably show you some of the files. It's going to be a DVD-ROM. Basically, everything is, all the movies are going to be included, and you have access to them as video files, but also via a web interface. So you can play all the stuff in sort of decent quality Flash video because it's cross-platform and people don't have to worry about codecs and stuff like that. So yeah, we still have to find some good ways to do that. We found a few open source players that do Flash and probably some nice codecs, but yeah. So I'll just go. I actually used this laptop to record because recording in Linux isn't really that easy. And there it is. So I actually can show you all the work in progress files here.
Maybe it's nice to have
The DVD in the, well, okay, here's the thing. I'm planning, the plan was to make everything open content. Like Tom wants it to be open content, and I'm going to make all the blend files available, but also all the textures and also all the videos. So really, people can. We're going to publish them on the internet as well. We're just going to use the DVD for people who like to have a DVD, but we're also going to publish the files on the internet so people can download them and maybe translate them. I think that's really useful. And yeah. Okay. These are just probably some of the work in progress renders that I had. This is, yeah, some of the shading. I didn't do that many renders in the early stage. So, oh, by the way, this guy, I call him Larry. It was really an evolutionary process. You've seen the sketches at the beginning, and I sort of had a rough idea what to do, but really a lot of the process was developing as I was working on it. So, so I didn't really have the full thing in mind when I started it. And in that way, Blender really helped, because working in Blender is really like sketching. You can quickly draw out ideas and change your mind about things, and yeah. So I saved out all the files, and these are about 130 files. You can see how I started the thing, not really glorious, but and you can see how I ended it. That was probably last night. And yeah, so I don't know, are people interested in the files? What sort of steps I made? Okay, well, the way I think about, and it's really something I think about strongly, is that this is really the future of filmmaking. I mean, a lot of individual people are going to work on their own films, and we're going to see less and less films developed by big studios, because the tools are getting better, and that makes people get the chance to work more on their own ideas. And so what I'd like to discuss during the DVDs as well about the filmmaking process, like I said, but this is really about how to handle, if you have an idea, how do I handle that? I mean, do I just go like, oh my god, let's make stuff? Or do you go on an internet forum and say, oh my god, I had this great idea, let's make a movie? And then those people go, what? Yeah. So my approach to that is a bit different, and I don't necessarily like these internet projects. Maybe there's one that's actually successful, then I'll like it, but yeah. Okay, so the way I like to start with that is, I can show you some of the, I didn't have my sketches here, that's too bad. I made some sketches, but okay, I like to do something that I call a creative head start, is I take a part of the things that I have in my mind, and that I feel very strongly about, and I'll just do that. But after that, I'm going to plan the whole process. I'm going to do storyboards. I'm going to plan out what I'm going to do the next 20 years of my life. I don't know. And then I'm slowly executing it. And that's really handy. It's really good to have all the planning nailed out from the beginning. And that's also how I work in Blender. I started the entire modeling with the head, but after that, I just went like, okay, now I'm going to really plan this thing. I modeled the entire body next, like, oh, no, that's still the head. Yeah, I really saved detailed stuff, so maybe 120, that might be the body. Yeah, then I just went and did the whole outline of the body, and some of the keys are stuck here. And after that, I just kept adding details to it. So probably after, I I guess 5 hours, you see the model finished, and yeah, that's it. So I know now Tom is gone. I can close Blender actually. Okay, well, let's see. I talked about that. I'm not sure. I'm actually not sure what people are interested in, because everything that I make appears really boring to me at some point. I don't know why, but really, if you have any questions and you just want to know something, some particular point. Enrico. Okay, yeah. Right, I'm just going to show the environment. So that's how I started the environment. Using the same approach, it's really just a few outlines of what I like to think should be, and then I sort of stepped back and had a look at it. Okay, and now how can I make this look really cool and not boring? So yeah, this whole process sort of evolved, and you'll see that happening on the DVD as well. You see me making a lot of mistakes, deleting half of the mesh and going back to it again, because I think that's really interesting. I mean, that's how you work, and it's also, I mean, working on things like that is a problem-solving process. So, yeah, so this is just a model of the environment. There are going to be a few different environments. Actually, I'm not sure if I can find the time to add more stuff to that, since I'm now pretty busy with Peach and everything. So, but yeah, I might be adding things to it a little bit. This is the final environment. You can control the stuff with an armature. I don't want to quit. You can actually rotate that, close the thing. You can rotate this little thing here, and then you can animate the whole thing sort of like this. But yeah, so that's just the environment. I don't know, let's go and see some of the around step 120. Let's have a look at that. I should have some textures in here. No, stupid stuff. Textures don't get linked. I used relative paths for the textures, so you can, if you have the DVD, you can see all the textures, but now for some reason that doesn't work. Maybe I can load up something that will work. Lip creature. In lip creature, there's the final creature, obviously. So that's the final thing. I did a sort of medium good rig. I'm not entirely happy with it, but I really had a limited schedule for that, so that's the best I could do. And I mean, that's how I did the animation with it. So what you can do is you can grab the head, rotate the head around like this. You can take the jaw, close the jaw, so everything looks nice again, and you can just have the entire model, sort of pose it. It's already ready to do whatever you want with it, and all the textures are here. Cube. So everything is UV unwrapped. Sorry. Yeah. Oh yeah, there's not that much deformation really, but yeah, there's a few bones. I can show them to you. There's a few helper bones, and that I might clean up the files and make them nice to control later on if I publish the DVD, because it's not really nice for me to work with either. So, for example, the jaw setup here is actually this is just my control bone, and while I'm rotating that, the other bone here, that's actually controlling this half, and it's moving down this way, and this one is parent for the whole thing, and this one only controls that. And I'm driving an action with this bone. So the only thing you have to worry about is just this bone. You can just rotate it and close the thing. And of course there is the really necessary tongue controller to make the tongue stick out. And obviously what's really important is shoulder motion. And but yeah, the rig isn't overly complicated, really. I mean, it's just really what worked for me at that point and what I needed for my shot. Right? Yeah. Right. Yuri? Yeah.
Do you work everything in single steps, like first modeling and then put it the composition and then lighting and then?
Yes. Yes. So it's basically first modeling. It's about 8-10 hours of modeling, I'm not sure. And after that, I'm going to UV and wrapping. And after that, I'm going to rigging. And after rigging, I'm going to animation. In between, there's material setup, but like I'm making sure that all these steps will be separate from each other. So you can just select a chapter on the DVD, and oh my god, I want to see how he rigged that thing. And then you can just play the whole thing, watch a few tutorials, how I did some few areas of that. Yeah.
That's on the disc, but you also work like that?
I also work like that, of course, yeah, because it's really, I mean, I can just focus on one thing at a time. I might do some test setups, like a test compositing setup to see how cool and shiny this thing looks like when I'm texturing, but yeah, that's really how I work. It's all in these steps, yeah.
Do you also talk about the topic of disc organization? I mean, you now just have one scene, or how many scenes do you have? One scene, or?
I have a few shots, but it's one thing, yeah.
Do you handle that? Do you talk about that? How to put it on disk and how to make sure it gets rendered?
I'm not sure. I could do that maybe. It's not something I think about that often, but of course I like to manage things. For example, the DVD or how I manage my files is just well, they're not managed at all, but
that's why
they're managed at all. They're managed, but like the steps are here, but I'm going to make sure that they're in the right order and in the right directories, of course. But the main files are just here in lib, and from there I link all my shots. Yeah.
So yeah, because it's not a full movie, you don't.
It's not a full movie.
Need to talk about it. Okay.
Sorry. Doing version backups?
No, do you combine the version while working?
I didn't understand the last one, sorry. That was maybe the microphone, sorry. Oh, for this DVD I did, yeah, I saved out every single step. So it was, maybe that's, so go to steps, second step, whoa, first step. Second step would be this. Fourth step would be that. Fifth would be that. You can see something that I deleted later on because I didn't like it. Fifth. And so on, and maybe at step 40, we hear, looks like a robot chicken. Yeah.
But what I mean is a type of integrated with a type of version management, that you take a certain decision and later on you want to go back and go on from like you do in software. Do you do that also for your models?
Yeah, I would like to do that, but for this I didn't have time for that. But I think it's really to have something like SVN for version control, so you can go back and maybe revert your changes or whatever. Yeah. I think there was a question. You had a question, right?
Yes, about steps you do, so modeling. Modeling, unwrapping, animating, rigging, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But does texturing fit in somewhere like that? Is it a part of the UV unwrapping, and do you do it outsource or?
Texturing, I didn't include so far because for texturing I use GIMP and couldn't use GIMP in Mac. And really, this is a Blender DVD, and I think it should be about Blender. But I'm obviously talking about UV unwrapping and how to get all the textures back into Blender, and then just how to do the material setup and everything. So that's going to be a part of the DVD, but not the actual texture painting process. Actually, I can show you some of the textures that I have here. Lib textures. For example, yeah, this is the specular texture for the arm.
And these are all things you paint by hand, or do you mix procedurals?
They're photo textures, but also with a lot of retouching done by hand. And zoom in. How do you? Oh, let's use that. Yeah. There's a lot of details in the texture. I'm not sure if I have this stuff here. No, I don't. That's too bad. I have it on my laptop. But yeah, I did a few test renders, and this thing can actually render in 4K resolution. So I made sure of that.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, if people are interested, I can show more of the textures.
Throughout the entire production process, how much of that time was spent working on something which you later decided to undo or delete?
10 minutes. I used everything. I used a lot of the stuff that I did. I didn't completely redo everything from scratch. So I might have a few things in the beginning that I thought, oh, maybe I'll approach this from a different side. For example, if you look at the creature model, I really had some difficulties deciding where to start. And really what I did, that you can actually see in the video, is that I started from a circle. So I just add a circle with 16 vertices, and maybe just go to local view here, and then just rotate it that way, and I extrude it out, I extrude that out, and go this way, and just apply subsurf and make everything set smooth, and then it just, you know, that's how I work. And sometimes I find out that, oh my god, this is not the best way to do things. I just delete this part and start from scratch, but it's not really, that doesn't happen a lot. Was that clear? Like, it's not really, I didn't really delete that much of the work.
So it's pretty much just in one direction?
Like... Yeah, it's in one direction. It starts from the creature, but some of the steps that you might see might not be ideal. You'll be watching the tutorials and you'll think, oh my god, why did he add vertex number 45 instead of deleting vertex number 43? And you go like, oh, yeah, well, I could have done that, but I mean, when you work, you can't really think that deeply about it. But sometimes I do, sometimes I think, oh my god, this would actually lead to a better result. Yeah.
How much of the end form of your creature did you have in your head, and how much did it evolve by doing it?
I had a pretty clear idea about the creature. I'm stupid that I can't connect my laptop, but actually everything started. I'm throwing around this microphone. Everything started from a little idea that I had in my sketchbook. I have a scanner of that. I have a scan of that, but looks like this. It's really ugly. I did it on a plane when I first came to Amsterdam, and there's a caption that says, "Always keep it cute and cuddly," because I was starting out in Peach. And that's really the idea. I wanted to do something that's sort of connects the two sides of modeling, the organic part and the mechanic part, because both are kind of difficult if you think about it. It's not like modeling a head or modeling a nose. It's really about how you connect these two things, and that was the first idea. How do I make something that's actually going to be interesting to people? Yeah, and so that was the idea. I think I have a few of the. You can see a few of the sketches in that thing here. Oh, no, quick time. Go away. And, no. There's a few sketches here in that thing in the beginning. I have them in bigger form too, but yeah, like this was a first initial sketch, this was a first initial sketch, this is a more detailed version about how I thought about making the joints connect, and this was the sketch that really brought everything to life. Yeah. And then I just go about, okay, which is the most important part of this thing? And I figured it would be the head, because that's in the sketch, and that's what you connect to as an audience. You first look at the head of things and maybe the eye. So I started with the eye as a little circle. And from that it just evolved, and I made studies about the body structure. I wanted to be like a lion, but also like a human that's somehow distorted, but also sort of have a reptilian quality to it. And yeah, and it was sort of just an evolutionary process from then on. Any more questions? I can just, yeah.
I just have a question about the details. Do you make details when you want to, or do you save them for last? Or?
I like to do them last, because, well, it depends what kind of details you want. Sometimes I just like to think, oh my god, this would be really cool to have a little thing there, and I'll just add it, and then I can look at it for a few minutes and then just delete it again. But yeah, but I do that from time to time, but usually I save the details to last. And I didn't go overboard with the detail in this one. I would have liked to do more, but it really had a limited amount of time. And also a lot of the detailing is done in the texturing process. So I can show a few more textures. I think that's, I spend 2 days on the textures mainly, and half a day on the UV unwrapping. And what's a day? In between painting and carpeting, let's see, maybe 4 hours that I can focus on one thing. So yeah, that's maybe it. Sometimes it would be 24 hours, but you'll see it in the tutorials eventually. The whole thing is about, let's say, 50 hours. 40 or 50 hours, and if you're really crazy, you can watch them all, and if you're even more crazy, you can do it in a short amount of time, probably. Yeah. You had a question, right?
I wanted to know about the light speed.
Uh-huh.
Do you use
Good question. He was asking if I use ray tracing at all. I didn't use ray tracing for the whole thing. I can actually show you how I did some of the lighting. Maybe that's interesting. Start and quit Thunder. Start Thunder. So let's have a look. This is probably one of the best. Oh, not really. Let's take that one. Let's just render it. No, that's not the render button. I'm not used to pressing that button, it's so big. So you can see the stuff rendering. By the way, everything is recorded in 1024 by 7680, so I had to shrink down the Blender window, but that way everyone can watch the thing, and that's also really important. And the whole animation is rendered out in 50% HD, so it's 940 pixels by for 540 or something, and yeah, that was the resolution I was working on. It's taking a long time now because it has to cache all the textures first, but after that usually a frame takes 1 minute or 40 seconds usually. So I avoided ray tracing for that reasons. I painted an environment map for the character, and actually you saw those sky maps in the tutorial. I used them to generate environment maps, like cube maps for Blender. I hope to make an outdoor scene as well for the whole thing, but I'm not sure. I sort of, that was one of the things that changed in the process, that I thought like, oh, let's go a bit more indoors. But in the end, I thought, okay, let's make it a bit brighter, and let's not go too dark, because Ton doesn't like to do dark things. That's too bad. I like black. So yeah, most of the I think the texturing, yeah, the texturing wasn't really that complicated, but I kept the textures really high res. That's might change when I publish the DVDs, that I sort of give a very basic textured version that everyone can render, because right now I think there's a few 4K textures and 8K textures, and there's spec maps and bump maps, and that sort of adds to a whole lot of memory that has to be computed, so wasted. So yeah. Let's not wait for that. Oh, do you want to wait for that? I can talk a bit more. That's also one of the part that takes the longest amount of time, because I have to press render and go like drink some coffee, paint the walls, look at the render, change something, and now that was all too dark. Yeah?
The light stripes on the model are post-processed or on textures?
I wish I could show that to you actually now. Basically, it's the idea is that they're emit material with a slight cloud texture that's also mapped to emit, and what I do in the post-processing stage is I isolate only this part of the model, of the color range. It's basically over 1. I better show that. And let me take this one. I hope it's the right one, because that one kind of illustrates better. So this would be the node setup for the thing. Damn, that's really easy, is it? I think this is not actually my node setup. This one I had before, right? It's good to keep your work organized. Oh yeah, that was the last night when I was trying to render out the teaser, so this is not going to be on the DVD probably. Oh yeah, let's take that one. So yeah, what I'm doing is I make sure that the stripes are basically a color value over 1, and later in post-processing I isolate that color range and I make it blow out. So that's basically everything. It's not really that complicated, and then I just blur it and add some color changes to it. But yeah, that's basically it. Yeah, I'll just render that in the background. Right. I think you were first. You already know everything. Mm-hmm. Yeah. For this one, I did it to a certain extent. For things like Elephant Stream, it's a bit more complicated. I like to make a compositing scene actually. So I save all my compositing nodes in one scene, and I can just append that and link the other scenes to it. So that works sort of as a color library that I can use. And I also make custom group nodes sometimes that just do certain things like change all the blues to black and all the black to green and whatever. Yeah. So I like to do that because it saves you a lot of time. What's that? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. So you're talking about objects, right? Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I do that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. I'm not sure if I do exactly that. I like to, usually I like to separate things to, okay, this is my environment blend file where I have the environment, and this is my props blend file where I have all my props. And I'd like to name all the objects in my blend file so I can, if I append stuff or if I link stuff, I know exactly what's in the file. Sometimes I just do little text files that say, okay, I added this to the file at this date and whatnot, but I don't tend to have extra blend files just for one object, because Blender has a really powerful library system, and I think it's really good to use that. Was that what you're saying, or not sure if I understood correctly? No, not for everything, no. Well, I just have one master blend file that links to the other blend files. For example, I have one blend file for the creature and one for the environment, and I have, yeah, that's it. Oh, finished. Whoa. And it took 3-4 minutes or so, but if I'm going to do it again, it won't take that long. Yeah, usually I just have sort of like meta blend files, not like to the very tiniest bit. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. Well, I don't. If you don't import that, you can also link it. So if you change the original blend files, so by just doing that, you can link load libraries, and you can link them actually. And so that file will actually, if you do any changes to the original file, then that will update in the scene blend file as well. Is that what you mean? It's Shift F1. It's append. It's in the menus, like file, append, or link. Yeah, and linking is sort of yeah, yeah, okay, yeah. It's better to link sometimes. Sometimes you want to append when you're feeling crazy. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, maybe. But in certain cases, you also want to change stuff. Like I have an object and I have a light setup that completely interferes with the material setup for that particular object. So and I'd like to change the material of that. Then I just append it, or only link the model and append the material and change that later on. Yeah, that sort of thing. Right.
I was wondering.
You were saying.
Right. I was wondering about limitations or like things that you regularly bump into. If you can talk a bit about that a little bit, like
limitations in Blender.
Well, you know, exactly. The sort of things that you kind of like in your workflow. There's things that you have to say remind yourself to avoid, or you know that you will have to remind yourself to do in a certain way, or anything. That,
well,
you know, that sort of thing.
There's a few limitations in Blender, but it's not really that hard. And for example, let me think of something. I didn't have any limitations in that one. The only limitation is your imagination, sometimes. Well, I choose Blender as a tool because I can make stuff really fast with it, and that's really the key point. Because and all the other things like, oh, I can't have objects, bones in this armature driving the other bone in the same armature. That might be a limitation that I don't really that I sort of stumbled upon, but not really. Right now, since we're now in Peach working on a better render pipeline and sort of making things a bit faster and a bit more reliable, then no, I can't really right now think of any limitations. Maybe my computer is too slow to handle a scene, or yeah, but usually not. I like that Blender makes me work really fast on it.
Hello.
What do you know? You already know everything.
I have a question. Excuse me. Perhaps it's yet answered, but I'm wonder the clothes I'm used to view in your artwork, yes. Is procedural, is bitmap, is first procedural and later processed in bitmap.
For example, when I do
For
images,
example, this cloud.
Oh, this one. The clouds in the background are actually a photo of a sky, and I post-processed that in GIMP, and I stitched them together to make a huge panorama, and that was it. I tried to use procedures as much as I can, but really for this I was going for a more realistic look, so I decided to use only image textures and maybe a few procedures to make things a little bit more dirty, but not really. For this there aren't really a lot of procedures. But for still images, I like to work a bit differently because I have a tighter deadline schedule for them, and I just slap on some procedurals, change them, because I know I can touch it up when I'm editing it in GIMP later on. But yeah, I use whatever works for me at this point.
Okay, basically finally. I was going to ask you exactly the same question. So, but yeah, I was going to ask if you bake procedural textures and then retouch them, but I think you already answered that. So.
Yeah, I'm doing that. For this creature, actually, I baked not the procedurals, but I baked an AO pass into every single object, and then like I UV unwrapped it, and then I baked the AO pass, and it helps for making things more dirty, and it also is a huge help actually for painting the textures, because you if you just export the UV frame and you have the wireframe everywhere, you can't really. Oh my God, where did I have the no, I'm lost now. Where do you? Yeah, and the AO really helps to figure out where all your points in the model are, and well, for procedurals it's really the same, and you get a bit more. Yeah, you get actually have a ground to work on. So yeah, I also do that.
Thank you.
Is there a particular reason why this composited node setup you set the vector motion blue as the first one?
I set the vector motion blur first because it's really time intensive. Oh. So if I update something here, like this, just happens, and I don't have to wait till the vector blur gets applied to everything. And also, I also use the defocus node, and it's pretty hard to use with vector motion blur actually. So I have to use defocus after the vector motion blur, because if like all the Z buffer information that I have in my image doesn't get blurred by the defocus, so it actually looks nicer if I vector blur first and then defocus. And, well, yeah, then after that, I just render out, I just go to the passes now, output, viewer. So that's my background. You can see it's a sky picture. It's just mapped onto a plane and in a different render layer. And this is my character. Looks like this. See, it doesn't really look like anything. And that's really like how... That's really how I like to work, because the compositor is a really powerful tool for defining a look in the final stage. So you don't have to worry about all these materials anymore. Well, maybe a bit, but you can really tweak how things look like. So, so I just do a simple Gaussian blur on the background like this, and this is how the character looks like with the defocus and the vector blur and everything. Like, no, F11 doesn't work on here. And after that, I just alpha over the creature. Oh, no, I deleted stuff. No. I just alpha over the creature on the background, like this. And I made a little custom node here that's called neon, and that makes the things glow. So I just unnotify that. And so the first step is I'm taking the image, and like I said before, I isolate all the areas that are above 1 using the RGB curves, so it looks like this. And after that, I'm just blurring it like this, and then after that, I'm just applying some color changes to it, and I'm adding it back on the final image, so it looks like this. And you can see the blue gets more intensive here, and yeah, it's better than just taking an emit material, really. And then after that, I made a little custom node for me that I like to reuse. It's called Glare, but basically what it does, it's also just another blurring process. So I modify the image like this. And this, it doesn't really look that good, but when it gets added on top, and of course it gets blurred as well, like this, it really adds a lot to the variation of on these points. So you don't get a single, oh my god, it's really shiny blur on top of everything. That's not really how a camera lens works or the film stock works. So that's how I actually make things a bit more realistic. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Oh my gosh, I'm finished.